Hi, my name is Jenny. This is my sign name. I grew up in Wisconsin. I went to the Deaf Institute. Hold on. Let me back up. My parents are deaf. My brother's hard of hearing. My other sibling is hearing. When I graduated from the Deaf Institute, I went to Gallaudet. I majored in history. When I graduated, I was all over the place, but I stayed in Minnesota for about 2 years. I married a hearing man and 2 children. They're both hearing. Now I work in therapy and social work. This is me as a deaf woman. When I was younger, my family, when we would have a family reunion, we would go canoeing. It's one of my favorite memories as a kid. I loved all the beautiful trees and the smell of nature, and animals. Every year my family would go. Shit. Up until I was 15 or 16, I wouldn't travel, I wouldn't canoe. I would just backpack. And my first time canoeing, I had my daughter. Last year was my first time canoeing. My daughter is 6. She goes to school, carries a backpack. My friend gave us clothes and food and supplies. We arrived at the trail. We had to park and then walk to the trail. About a half a mile, and then you start the trail. You have to carry the canoe on your back as you walked. We would have to do short walks for the kids. My kids are really experienced hikers. They know what to do. I know that they'll be safe. They can take care of themselves. So I would just send them off to go by themselves. But I had never done it before. I don't know. I can't do math. I can't figure out how far it is. Anyways. We would hike for about a quarter mile and then we'd stop. I'd have to go back. Get the backpack. So I kept having to go back and forth. I could only carry some things at a time, so I had to set things down, walk about a quarter mile, go back, pick things up, go back and forth. When we finally got to the waters, we'd stop and tell stories. One day, we arrived at the lake. Most of the day was just awful. My son was the expert backpacker. My daughter was stubborn. She was just getting angry. She didn't like having this big backpack on her. So my son and my daughter got in the canoe, and they were sitting there, and then they switched places and the canoe started tipping up. So they had to balance the weight of the canoe with their things. That day the waters, they were kind of rough. So I went back to get things. It was the last day. At first, my child was excited. Oh, I loved going outside. I'm so excited. I can do it. I can do it. So we're going next week. We're going camping. Or very excited, like, I can do it, I'll be fine. Wrong. We're camping and they're just tired and cranky and like, I don't want to do this. It's too much work. I just can't do it. It's awful. I was canoeing and it was so difficult. The wind was just blowing in my face and I just couldn't canoe very well. The wind just kept blowing the canoe going in all different directions. I was going one way and then the wind would blow me in the other, and it's just so difficult. So my son shifted and the boat started to tip upwards. I said, no, you gotta sit up here with me. The boat's gonna tip over. My son's like, no, the boat won't tip over that easily. I turned around and I said, please, will you just sit up? The boat is going to turn over. Just getting so frustrated. I was getting so mad. He just wouldn't listen. Being so lazy. You need to canoe more. And my son was not canoeing at all. And I kept telling him, you need to canoe more. So finally started canoeing and the boat got straight and it was fine. But we were just arguing. I was thinking, maybe in a couple hours the water will be much smoother and it'll be fine. It'll be an easy day. The boat won't be going back and forth. All of a sudden the boat got stuck. It was just going in one direction. It was going by itself and I just couldn't control it. I was just getting so angry. Finally, I just gave up. It just wasn't working, so I just gave up. The boat just traveled along the edge of the river, of the waters, by itself. Finally, right, I was so angry, and my son was just tired out. I felt awful. I told my son, I'm sorry. I got frustrated with you. He said, it's okay. Don't worry. I just felt bad for lashing out at him.